Well, good evening, everyone. Hopefully you've had some time to digest and settle down what we just witnessed with the Lions out west. Haven't won out there since 1975, and that just keeps on ticking. I'm your host, Justin Rose, joined today by former Michigan and NFL defensive lineman Mike Martin. Nice to have you back.
Good to see you, man. Good to be
Haven't
back.
seen you in a while. What have you been up to?
Man, I've been working. I've been just watching these football games, trying to keep my spirits up, not trying to get too down, but enjoying this fall so far. It's been good.
Michigan football, Michigan State football, and Lions football. Just the state of the state is.
Yeah.
It's seen better days, Mike, hasn't it?
It's been emotional, man. It's been. And I was in South Bend for the first game. My birthday was on Saturday.
Happy birthday, by the way.
I appreciate that, man. I made 28 look good, but I was waiting for a big bow win, for the first game of the season. We didn't get it. We all know that, but those guys are not there yet. I think they're getting there, but it's been an emotional roller coaster when it comes to football so far.
We will get to Michigan. We will talk a little bit about the state of the Big Ten, because what a colossal disaster yesterday was. 7 Big Ten teams losing to non-conference opponents. It's a lot of them at home, so we'll get to that coming up later. But we got to start with the Detroit Lions. And at any point during our conversation, you want to chime in, use the hashtag 7SportsCave. I'll get to some of those tweets later on in the broadcast, but there it is. We saw what happened. The Lions 3 points short, day late and a dollar short, and we were watching the game together when you came in earlier, and man, where do you start with this loss?
Look, I mean, we know how bad week 1 was, and it was anemic. It was lifeless. There was no energy. So I'm like, okay, we need to come out. Let me see some energy. Let me see some life. Let me see some fight out of these guys. We saw some flashes of that. But again, we're sloppy, we're making mistakes, penalties, things that you can't be doing if you want to win games like that on the road against a pretty good team, not a great team, but we're going to be facing some really good teams this year. So we got to win these games, and we're just not getting it done.
Let's try to break this down, Mike, because there's a lot of different elements of the game that went wrong that I was just like, what? Let's talk about the start. As a former NFL player, how important is the start of a football game to set a tone? Because I think fans talk about all the time, like, the Lions are so slow, because they are, and they never come out and punch somebody in the mouth. And even when they get gifted a pick 6 to start the game last week, it didn't correlate to the rest of their game.
Man, you got to start fast especially when you're going into half. You got to go into halftime with scoring, having some momentum. Momentum is huge in a football game. People don't understand how it can swing, and when you're on the field, that really starts to lay in on you, especially as the game keeps going on. So when we get these gifts of, a face mask down there when they almost scored on the kickoff, or we punted and we had great field position before the half, we have a chance to score, and we're overthrowing throws, and we walk out with 3 points instead of a touchdown. I mean, those are things you go into halftime saying it's like 3 points isn't good enough. It's not good enough to win in the NFL. You can't keep just kicking field goals and expect to be happy at the end of the season. So that needs to change.
The one thing, there's so many different plays in the game that went against the Lions, if you will, but the one that I'm still I can't believe they called defensive holding on Quandre Diggs on the Tracy Walker interception return back to like the 3-4 yard line with just over 2 minutes to go. I mean, you were there with me when we were watching it. Was that the right call? Did the Lions get Lions? Because it looked like the Lions got Lions there to me.
Look, yeah, you can argue it, man. Obviously, I think it was a terrible call. It was a terrible call. But again, we're in that position. We're in that position to have a tough call, swing the game like that. You can't have it come down to a referee deciding if you win or not. I mean, everyone's going to cry about it, and it hurts, yeah. But at the end of the day, we're just not making the plays we need to make to be in a position to win the game. So you can't blame it on the penalties. That's going to happen. You can't control it. Control what you can control, and that's what it comes down to on the field.
Well, I think they can control how many penalties they have themselves. The Lions certainly hurt themselves, stubbed their own toes enough today. Let's talk about the regime change, and Matt Patricia coming in. Jim Bob Cooter's still there, so there's some continuity on the offense. But why is this team looking a little bit undisciplined? We got LeGarrette Blount pushing a guy afterwards, and the penalties. That's all discipline stuff, in my estimation of the game.
Yeah. football is football, man. I don't care who's in there coaching. Every guy that comes in here to coach is capable. These guys, they're not NCAA coaches, NCAA video game coaches. These guys, they coach football, okay? So at the end of the day, it comes down to executing a game plan and making plays, okay? And you come in, I've heard people say, oh, Patricia's been tough on these guys in training camp, and he's bringing this new regime and this new, and it's like, okay, well, what have we done in the past? We haven't gotten the results we want in the past, so let's do something new. And then when it's not working for the new guy, then we want to throw in the towel again. It comes down to making plays. These guys need to buy in. They need to show energy on the field, and we need to stop, again, looking sloppy and getting ejected out of the game and taking ourselves out of the game. We were in that game. We were 2 scores, 3 scores down.
Yep.
We're taking ourselves out.
And they came back. We got to talk about Matthew Stafford, because what he did directly, the fumble he had in the first half that led to 3 points, which was the deciding number, is awful. The overthrows that you mentioned, he had 4 of them down the field where just a little touch on that. And looking at Matthew Stafford, does he seem a little off this year to you?
He doesn't have that fire that I'm used to seeing him have. But that's across the board, though. That's not just with Stafford. I see it across the board. And yet, Matt, he's our leader on that team. And if you're not getting it from him, okay, but we need guys to step up. This is a veteran football team, all right? And you can't be counting on one guy to bring your fire, bring your juice every single week. Some guy, you got to pick him up, too, sometimes now. And yeah, he's overthrowing. I know he's frustrated. You can see him on the sideline looking at the Microsoft pad and getting frustrated, shaking his head. He wants to be great, man. He wants to make these plays. And when he's not doing it, we need someone else to make a play. So, I mean, yeah, it's easy to focus in on him, but we need other guys to make plays. You can't be dropping balls at midfield when we're right at the end of the game to get in the field goal range and at least try to tie it and go into overtime. Yeah, that's what we can't do.
Theo Riddick, 2 drops on that final drive, and to me, it just looks like this Lions season is headed nowhere fast. What are they going to have to do? They got the Patriots coming to town next week. Sunday Night Football, our esteemed sports producer Mike Foss has a great stat about Sunday Night Football and the Lions. I think they've won or none in forever. They've never won on Sunday Night Football. And now they have a game against one of the best teams in the NFL. What do you need to see to see progress?
You know what? That's an opportunity, man. You've never won. I know those guys know that, or they're going to be reminded of it. You got the best team in the league over a long time coming in here. You can set the record straight here and come out and play the way you need to play, okay? It's a Sunday night game. Let's get this right. We're all, these guys in that locker room, they need to have a conversation. And I don't know if they need to come in there on that team meeting, come tomorrow and say, look, have the coaches leave, do something. And say, guys, we need to come together and figure this out. We got a great opportunity. Patriots coming in here. We can set the record straight and get this season back on track.
Is it as easy as that? I mean, you've been in the room. You've seen seasons that haven't necessarily gone the way you wanted to.
Yeah.
How easy is that to walk into a room? Who needs to do that on this Lions team to get them going? Has it got to be Matthew Stafford? Has it got to be a newer guy, a younger guy? How does that happen? Because everyone hears that and everyone says, well, if somebody goes in there and throws a garbage can across the room, people are going to pay attention.
Yeah. So look, it's a veteran team. Yeah, okay. I don't care who it is at the end of the day, but a wake-up call needs to happen. These guys, you're 0-2 now. We've got a great opportunity. Tom Brady coming in here Sunday night. We're going to be on. Everyone's going to be watching. And do we want to be embarrassed again, like we've been, and have everyone talk about us or whatever? Or do we want to be proud about what we put out on the field and be able to watch tape the next day and not be shaking our head saying we left plays out on the field, we made penalties, we took ourselves out the game? It's these things. If we just eliminated half the penalties that we had today and caught the passes that we should have caught, we're in position to win the game or to tie the game and have a fighting chance. So let's just do that. Let's not make superstar plays. Let's just make the plays that we know we can play.
It just seems like the Lions are starting down that road again, guys, and I don't know what to tell you. Why don't you guys tell us? Use the hashtag 7SportsCave. We'll get to your tweets a little bit about this. Here, your quick prediction. Because next week about this time, the game will be wrapping up down at Ford Field. Do the Lions do enough this week to make a statement, or no? I'm going no.
I think we see the energy we want. They fight, but I don't think it happens. I think that they come out with some life to them though. But I think it'll be too much. With the Patriots, they're going to be pissed off after losing that game, and Tom Brady is going to be ready to win. He doesn't want to go two games in a row losing a game. So it's going to be a tough one for him.
Yep, absolutely. All right, we'll hear from you later on in the program using that hashtag 7SportsCape on Twitter. I'll get to those later. Coming up next, though, we got to talk about his alma mater, Michigan Wolverines. Nice big victory. Maybe not as comfortable as some would have liked to see over SMU. We'll get into that coming up next here on the 7 Sports Cape. Stay with us.